Oceans on Earth inhabit thousands of species, and while trees help, however, 50 to 80% of the world's oxygen comes from the ocean. However, we humans have been killing not only life underwater, but also causing damage to the environment above with the excessive use of plastics and disposing them off in the ocean. The United Nations report that over 800 species are by marine debris that we put in the form of plastic litter. According to estimates, each year 13 million metric tons of plastic waste ends up in the oceans every year. Besides causing habitat damage for thousands of animals like fish, turtles, seabirds, and marine mammals, and killing them as they either strangle themselves in plastic or consume it. Sadly, those are not the only harms humans have done to the world with plastics. So in this video, we're going to talk about the effects of plastic on the oceans and the life that dwells in it. Among all the aquatic life, sea turtles are affected the most. As they ingest plastics, they starve to death as they feel they are full. The reproduction rates are highly affected as plastic mixed with sand alters the temperature of the sand where the incubation of eggs occur. According to a recent study, turtles that ingest as few as 14 pieces of plastic face a higher risk of premature death. The younglings especially face a critical threat as they are less selective in what they would eat and often wash away in tides just like plastic. Plastic waste kills up to 1 million seabirds a year. As with sea turtles, when seabirds ingest plastic, it takes up room in their stomachs, sometimes causing starvation. Many seabirds are found dead with their stomachs full of this waste. Scientists estimate that 60% of all seabird species have eaten pieces of plastic, a figure they predict will rise to 99% by 2050. By doing just so, imagine how many species might go extinct and how it can imbalance the ecosystem. While dolphins are highly intelligent and thus unlikely to eat plastic, they are susceptible to contamination through prey that have ingested synthetic compounds. Plastic in our oceans affects creatures large and small, from seabirds, whales, and dolphins to tiny seahorses that live in coral reefs. When a plastic can or bottle, even if it breaks down over time, it turns into microplastics and becomes very easy to be ingested by smaller creatures. Schools of small fish that reside in the coral reeds and mangroves end up with that plastic in their bodies, and eventually makes its way to the bodies of larger animals. That junk that fails to break down in the microplastics keeps floating on the surface of the ocean. The so-called garbage patch of the Pacific Ocean is a prime example of that. It blocks sunlight and prevents aquatic plants to grow, hence that area faces less oxygen levels. Eventually, the animals move from that area, which further disturbs the ecosystem. Like going to the beach? Well, if you think of all the plastic and waste in the ocean, you care safe. However, it is a very poor belief. Microplastics contain multiple toxic chemicals that are added to plastics to make them flexible, colorful, waterproof, or flame-resistant. These include carcinogens, neurotoxins, and endocrine disruptors, chemicals that interfere with hormones and can cause cancer, birth defects, and reduce fertility. These chemical-laden particles enter the food chain and accumulate in fish and shellfish. When humans eat seafood contaminated with these materials, we ingest millions of microplastic particles and the many chemicals they carry. Though there is still debate on the harm to humans from microplastics, exposure to these chemicals increases the risk of all diseases that they cause. Virtually all of us have microplastics in our bodies today. Mercury is widespread in the oceans, and the major culprit is coal burning in homes and industry. All coal contains mercury, and when it burns, mercury vaporizes, entering the atmosphere, and eventually washes into the sea. Gold mining is another source, as mercury is used to dissolve gold from the ore. Mercury can accumulate to high levels in predatory fish such as tuna and swordfish, which are in turn eaten by us. Contaminated fish can be especially dangerous if eaten by expectant mothers. Exposure of mercury to infants in the womb can damage developing brains, reducing IQ and increasing risks of autism, ADHD, and other learning disorders. Adult mercury exposure increases risk of heart disease and dementia. Petroleum pollutants are a threat themselves. Since oil has less density, it floats on the surface of the ocean, blocking the sunlight, which keeps the plants from photosynthesis. These beneficial microorganisms use solar energy to convert atmospheric CO2 into oxygen and are also affected by organic pollutants and other chemicals. When there is a major oil spill, the impact can be huge. We can plant trees as much as we want, turn to renewable energy, but if we keep polluting the waters of the world with the same pace, the humans are narrowing our chances of surviving the next 1,000 years. Be a responsible human and think of the world before you throw away your waste. Change starts from us. Thanks again for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and click the bell icon to be notified of my next video. I'll see you in the next one.